I got an 18% increase in my pay, so now we have to talk about what the heck I'm gonna do with that money, because on this page, I help you make better decisions with your money by talking about what I'm doing with mine. So in this video, I'm gonna chat about this pay raise and talk about my feelings, thoughts, your guys' concerns. I'm gonna rework my budget and show you how I'm planning to use this extra money, and we're gonna shift and reframe some of my financial goals for the year. And I do not have even a bullet point template for this. I am just gonna go off the cuff and yap at you. So I'll probably say at least one or two unhinged things. The most unhinged thing I might say is I don't really consider this a raise. I work in healthcare. I work bedside at a hospital as an occupational therapist. And when I got hired, I think I have videos where I was like, I don't make enough money, but I tried to negotiate and they basically said no. Some people have construed this as I'm a really bad negotiator, which like valid, because probably am. One thing that's really common in jobs like these is equal pay for equal work. They say that there is just a metric that is a flow sheet that says if you have this degree and this many years of experience, this is your hourly rate. And then there is no wiggle room on that because equal pay for equal work. Obviously, there's some like glaring issues with that in that like we don't do equal work day to day. Some people are better at their jobs than other people. So there's not really any wiggle room for rewarding those people. And then what happens with that is that there's not really pressure to increase rates for different people. So as different hospitals in the market increase their pay in order to attract different therapists to apply to their job, other hospitals fall behind on their pay scale. And what this was is what's called a market adjustment, where my hospital system went and looked at the pay scale and looked at the market rates for therapists at different levels. And then they took their bottom 2% of earners and brought them up to the median. So it had been 3 or 5 years since there was a market adjustment at my hospital. And that is part of the reason my market adjustment was so big, because I was hired on already behind and then just kept getting behind every single year. One concern that a lot of people had on a short form video was like, girl, you need to just quit your job. They don't care about you. You should leave and like really show them. There's a little bit of nuance to this because now I am at the median for my market. So odds are I wouldn't make more money elsewhere, but also hospital life is really interesting. I currently work at the level of trauma center that I want to work at, and there is not one in a better commute to me. And that's really relevant to therapists because the acuity of the patients that I see would change. So that's like niche to my healthcare, but basically the type of patients I see, I couldn't get at another hospital. But also I have a great team. Our role is really valued heavily at our hospital in a way that it's not at other hospitals. So it's not just a matter of switching jobs. What is interesting about this market adjustment is that I had applied 2 jobs. I was offered a non-clinical role. And to be honest, there are still negotiations around that. I turned it down and they came back and said, meh. I don't think it's a move I want to make because I have great work-life balance. My current life and schedule is just really well suited for my current role. I'd started applying for other jobs because I was like, I might as well make more money if I can, but then I got to make more money at my current job. So I think I'm gonna stay put here. I think that answers a lot of questions, but the biggest one is this a raise? I don't know, technically, because I wasn't making this money before, but it's also money I should have been making before and that I knew I should have been making before, but it wasn't as simple as just jump ship. Still not as simple as just jump ship because now I'm at the rate that I'm probably gonna get at any other hospital and I don't really wanna be at another hospital. Can we talk about how 18% is almost 20%? Like that is so much money. My rate before was $38 an hour, which panned out to about $79,000 a year with weekends and holiday pay because it's a hospital, it's open 24/7. I have to work weekends and holidays. People freak out about that. It's a known going into the job. But with weekends and holiday pay, that panned out to about $80,000 a year. 18% brings me up to $45 an hour, which is like $93,000 a year. With weekends and holiday pay, that's about $95,000 a year. So I went from $80,000 to $95,000. That is a $15,000 increase. I do work in the Denver metro area, so this is like a higher cost of living. I feel fairly compensated for my role. I have opinions on healthcare as a system we could dive into, but then this would be a 3-hour long video. Anyways, I'm up $15,000 a year. So this sounds like a great time to run the numbers and plug it into my budget. Unfortunately, I don't think that this is gonna be a very interesting segment of the video. There is one thing that I'm gonna do with my money, and if you are a longtime follower, then you know exactly what that is. Say it with me. Buy a luxury purse. No, I'm kidding. I don't wear a purse. I am bad. I forget things, so it has to be attached to my body. We're gonna put this money straight to my debt. I don't know what this number is because it is in effect. I'm earning the new hourly rate now. I haven't gotten a paycheck yet. I ran it through a calculator that's usually pretty accurate, and I think I'm gonna earn about $1,000 more a month. And so from here, going from $4,000 to $5,000 a month, pretty nutter butters. That brings our monthly take home to $10,366, which is bonkers. So my extra payment that I make to my student loans is gonna go from $800 a month to $1,800 a month. So that is $1,000 extra just thrown straight to my student loans. This is one thing that I've done. We get like 3 to 3.5% raises every single year. And every single year since I started working, I have just squeaked up the amount of money that I put to my debt. And this is one of the best ways to just like speed up your debt payoff progress because you're not changing your budget. You're just making extra money and then it goes to your loans. It's also one of the best ways that I have found to live below our means. We kind of set what our lifestyle was when I wasn't making any money, really. The only thing we increased when I started making money was our grocery budget, and that was just controversial to the YouTube, but very good choice in our household because now we eat food we like and that makes us feel good. And then we just took all of my money and put it towards financial goals for the most part is kind of what we did with this like weird twist because we're not married and whatever. You guys have been along for the ride. So basically what I'm trying to say is that one of the best ways to live below your means is anytime you get a raise, you just don't change your lifestyle. That money can go to savings, financial goals, paying off something, but it doesn't go to inflating your quality of life. We have gone from like living off of what we make to living off of less than half of what we make. And making more income is really important. I was willing to leave my job to make more money, and I was this close to doing it, and then I made more money at my job. This is probably a pretty rare experience outside of like the healthcare world. And even within the healthcare world, market adjustments are usually like 6 to 10%. They are not 18%. This was a ridiculously high market adjustment, and I am not mad about it. Oh, this is a great time to talk about financial goals though. Let's look at what this increase does for my debt repayment, shall we? So I currently owe like $71,000 in loans. We're just gonna round down to $70,000 because I bet your bottom dollar that if I have $1,000 left to pay in a month, it's coming from my emergency fund. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not that strong. I'm not waiting for my next paycheck. I'm paying it off. So we're gonna round down to 70,000. My average interest rate is less than 6%, but we're just gonna round to 6% for this because this is general. It's not that bad. So before, my monthly payment to my student loan debt was $2,200. So doing this, I was gonna pay my loans off in 35 months. That's 12, 24, 36, 3 years from now. Upping this $1,000 to $3,200 brings it down a full year. Did you hear that? 1 full year. So my loans will be paid off 2 years from now. So before I was right on track to pay them off at 30, and now they will be solidly paid off at 29. That's with a caveat because this increase actually does really shift my forward focus. Currently, I have 4 loans left to pay off. One of them has $8,000 left, so it'll be paid off before June, before May, before June. Then I have 2 loans that are lower interest rate, 5.28%, and each of them has less than $20,000, between $18,000 and $19,000. Let's say $38,000. Let's just round that up too, because we're rounding. And then I have one more loan that is a higher interest rate, but is at $26,000. The minimum payment on this loan that is at $26,000 is like $266. Now, why is this relevant? This is relevant because I get a $200 contribution to my student loans from work that does not get cashed out as cash in my pocket if I've paid off my loans. So in a way, it doesn't make sense for me to put my own money to paying off this loan as long as I work at my current job, right? Because someone else can pay this off. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pay off my 3 loans, which total about $42,000 at 6% interest rate. At $3,200, this gives me 14 months. So by March-ish of next year, these loans will be paid off. I'm shifting my goals. You're about to cringe. I'm gonna stop paying aggressively on my loans. I know, that's horrifying to you. I have a plan. I have a plan. I am going to downshift how much I'm putting toward my loans. Probably I'll do like $500 a month of my own money plus the $200, so like $700 a month to that loan, because it just doesn't make sense for me to totally pay it all off super aggressively. I have $3,000 of my own money. We're gonna shift that down to $500 of my own money is going to the debt, $200 from work is going to the debt. I'm still paying it off fast, but then I free up $2,500 a month. I'm gonna take 1,000 of those dollars and save up a, like, in case I quit my job, buffer fund if I need to leave my job for whatever reason. Like if I desperately need to go, to cover the ability to pay off my loans. If there's $20,000 left on the balance, I'll save $20,000 and then I can just lump sum pay that off if I need to leave my job. If I don't need to leave my job and I still have that loan, I'm staying at my job, it just doesn't make sense to pay off. This is a free benefit that I get from work of $200, and then I'll have that like buffer that I can just pull away, but it doesn't make sense to put that money to that debt if I'm getting free money from work that I wouldn't be getting otherwise. And then what I'm gonna do with the other $1,500 is invest it so that I can get to a higher investment amount. At the end of the day, these loans are low interest. And so it makes more sense in 14 months, probably closer to 12 months, when I pay off these 3 other balances and just have that one balance that's mostly covered by the $200 that I have at work, start a savings bucket for that loan and invest more aggressively so that that money can grow in the market. Yes, the situation is still the same, right? Like I could have paid those 3 loans off, but now that this extra $1,000 really expedites that process and also gives me a boatload of money to put towards discretionary goals. I don't see a world where it truly makes financial sense to pay all my loans off, but by paying down those 2 lower balances, that's something that I can do relatively soon to free up that money sooner rather than later. What do you think? Do you hate me? I think that mathematically it's a plan that makes sense. It's one that I feel comfortable with because I'm still tackling that financial goal of paying off that debt by building that savings account to pay it off if I, as my like FU fund, if I just need to walk away from my job. It also allows me to use a benefit that I have from work and save $2,400 a year in payment. So yeah, my budget isn't that exciting because it's not really changing that much because I'm just taking $1,000 and throwing it to loans. But I think that that shift in my financial goals is kind of exciting. What do you think? I don't know. And if you hate it, I'd love to hear from you because your comments help me earn more money on these videos, which will help me pay off all of my debt faster and retire earlier. So I would love to hear your opinions, and I will respond to you and rage bait you in and make you comment back to me. And at the end of the day, I'll be doing it all with a little smile on my face knowing that I am winning. So that's a T on my 18% raise. If you want to keep hanging out with me while I do just ridiculous, crazy, fun things with my money, I would love to have you. You should subscribe. And if you want to see how this all pans out for me in the long run, whether you want to see me succeed or fail, I don't care. Just hit the subscribe button. Thanks for being here. And don't forget to watch my vlogs. Come on, guys. Watch it right here.